Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDN TV Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications. And now, let's join ace broadcaster MAMODE AKUGHA as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome. Compliments of the season to you all. This is Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, MAMODE AKUGHA.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Despite the clear provisions for the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act (PIA) as it concerns the setting up of host community development trust and their board of trustees, some groups in Warri Kingdom continue to insist that the palace of the Olu of Warri and not the communities should set up the community development trust. This is in spite of a needless interpretation and a clear directive from the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission (NUPRC) that the oil firms should deal directly with the communities. However, Ugborodo, Ugbo-Egungun and the Ele communities in Warri South local government area of Delta State are standing firm and resolute that they are the ones, together with the oil firms, that will set up their development trust and board of trustees for their communities and not the Olu of Warri. In the last 4 months, Ugborodo, Degele and Ugbo-Egungun communities in Warri South local government area of Delta State have been at daggers drawn with Chevron Nigeria Limited and the palace of the Olu of Warri over the proper implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act (PIA) as it concerns the setting up of the Host Community Development Trust and its board of trustees. While the communities believe that the settlers, that is the oil firms, should set up the Host Communities Development Trust in conjunction with them, the palace of the Olu of Warri believes that it should set up the Host Community Development Trust for Ishekiri communities in conjunction with the oil firms. This difference of opinion between the communities and the Olu of Warri palace is responsible for the crisis with the oil firms, as both parties try to muscle the oil firms to see the situation from their perspective. In the last 4 months, there have been several protests, counter-protests, demonstrations, and outright shutdowns of oil company facilities, all in a bid to get the oil companies to respond positively to their demands. In the midst of this crisis, the NUPRC, the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission, had always waded into the matter as part of attempts to settle the rift. At least on 2 occasions, the NUPRC had held tripartite meetings with the different parties with a view to resolving the conflict. After its last meeting at its corporate headquarters in Abuja 2 weeks ago, the NUPRC came out with a clear directive that the oil firms should deal directly with the host communities in the setting up of the Host Community Development Trust and its board of trustees.
The settler, Chevron, and the host communities should re-examine the names and unanimously resolve on the names for the HCDT. Chevron Nigeria Limited transmits to the Commission a report on the implementation of the rulings within 2 weeks. The report should be fully signed and certified by representatives of both parties, Chevron and the host community.
Seeing that the NUPRC's position did not favor the palace of the Olu of Warri and the Iwere Land Development Trust, an interest group sympathetic to the Olu of Warri wrote an open letter to President Bola Tinubu requesting him to stop the Chief Executive Officer of the NUPRC, Engineer Gbenga Kumulafe, from interfering with the Host Communities Development Trust issues within Warri Kingdom. In the said open letter to Mr. President, published in the Thursday, December 14, 2023 edition of the Vanguard newspaper, the group confirmed that the Olu Palace had submitted names to the oil companies for the setting up of the Host Community Development Trust and its Board of Trustees. This position, according to the Host Communities Producing Oil and Gas, HOSCOM, is contrary to the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act.
We have the complaints right here. How the alleged settlers asked traditional rulers to send the names to them. That is not what the PIA says. PIA says settlers, in conjunction with the communities, shall nominate persons who will be the trustees.
Spokesman for Ogborodo community, Comrade Alex Enyego, says the CEO of the NUPRC, Engineer Gbenga Kumulafe, had done nothing wrong except insisting that the provisions of the PIA should be followed to the letter.
The Chief Executive Officer of the NUPRC himself, Engineer Gbenga Kumulafe, was very clear, was very unambiguous when he said the PIA itself and the accompanying regulations made pursuant to the PIA does not recognize palaces, does not recognize traditional rulers, does not recognize ethnicity. What the extant laws guiding the PIA recognize are the host communities.
Comrade Enyego advised the Warri monarch and his sympathizers to avail themselves copies of the Petroleum Industry Act and be guided by its provisions and stop fighting what he described as a lost battle.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Delta State House of Assembly has passed the state's 2024 budget after 2 weeks of accelerated consideration by the legislators to allow for a January to December budget cycle in the state. The initial 714 billion naira budget estimate presented by Governor Sheriff Oborevwori was increased to 724.9 billion naira by the legislators to meet current economic realities in delivering government plans, policies and programs across the state. Our correspondent, Timcat Nambol, reports that the appropriation bill got the nod of the state legislators after a careful review of the report of the House Committee on Finance and Appropriation.
The Delta State House of Assembly has approved the state's 2024 budget Governor Sheriff Oborevwori presented 3 weeks ago after an accelerated consideration by the legislators to allow the governor and his team start the implementation of the administration's plans, policies and programs in January 2024. The initial 714 billion naira budget estimate was increased to 724.9 billion naira by the legislators to meet with current economic realities. Meanwhile, Governor Oborevwori, who received renowned Nigerian musician David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, recently said the state is safe for investors in the entertainment industry.
Delta State is peaceful, and I want to assure all those who are coming that here is safe at any time.
The Nigerian entertainment industry is reported to have generated a revenue of about $7.7 billion in 2022 and a projected $8.6 billion in 2023. Governor Oborevwori, while he was the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, played a critical role in the passage of the Creative Industry Development Bill that established the Creative Industry Development Fund, which encourages creative entrepreneurs and workers in the state. Governor Oborevwori was also pivotal in the construction of a world-class film village and leisure park in Asaba that has put the state on a front footing in leveraging the abundant opportunities the entertainment industry provides for its teeming young population. Davido, while describing Delta State as a force to reckon with in the entertainment industry, said he was in the state in solidarity with Deltans who have always supported him since the beginning of his career.
I performed there, since the beginning of my career, everywhere, Warri, Asaba, so Delta is like a second home to me, what I'm saying.
Anti-development issues in Delta State. Some residents of Warri, the commercial nerve center of the state, have hailed Governor Sheriff Oborevwori for his consistent efforts in giving the city an improved outlook as well as improving the fortunes of its residents. This follows the recent installation of solar-powered streetlights on major streets around the oil city by the state government. Inside the Niger Delta confirmed that some sections of the city is already glittering at night, while work is ongoing at several other locations. Some traders who spoke to our crew were impressed with the recent development.
The place was very dark, very boring. I normally close 7 o'clock, but now I close 10 o'clock.
Since we got the street light, we extended our time. We can stay much longer.
A resident who hailed the governor for what he described as his deliberate effort at improving the fortunes of residents of Warri and its environs called on Deltans to give the governor all the support he needs to move the state forward.
I want all Deltans to please work with His Excellency, the bridge builder and the light provider of Delta State.
Warri is home to Nigeria's second refinery and a leading hub in the oil and gas industry in its heydays, bustling with life round the clock. But its thriving economy would witness a steep decline with the communal clashes and the armed conflict in the Niger Delta region that greeted Nigeria's return to civil rule in 1999, leading to the exit of oil multinationals from the city. Despite the return of peace and calm in recent times, economic recovery has been rather slow. A narrative Governor Oboriowori is changing as he gives the oil city an improved outlook in fulfillment of the promise he made in his inaugural speech.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Immediate past representative of Esan Northeast and Esan Southeast Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Honorable Sergius Ogun, has formally declared his intention to contest the September 21, 2024 Edo State governorship election under the platform of Labour Party. Honorable Ogun made the declaration recently at Labour Party Secretariat in Benin City, where he was received by leaders of the party in Edo State.
On the occasion of his recent declaration to join the September 21, 2024 Edo State governorship election at the Labour Party Secretariat in Benin City, Honorable Sergius Ogun was received by leaders of the party and his supporters. Honorable Ogun, who described the ideology of the Labour Party as people-centered, said his mission was to revive moribund social infrastructure to better the lives of the ordinary citizens in Edo State.
All the poor are asking for, make sure the schools are in good shape and we have well-remunerated teachers. Make sure we have good healthcare system. At least the primary healthcare centers in the rural areas should function well. That's not asking for too much. They should also allow the poorest of us to go to our farms, access our farms, and bring in farm produce so that the cost of living can come down.
The former federal lawmaker who represented Esan Northeast and Esan Southeast Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives between 2015 and 2023 promised to prioritize security of lives and property to promote and sustain economic growth and development of Edo State if elected as the next governor.
Section 14(2)(b) of Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says security and welfare of the people is the primary purpose of government. Is a task that must be accomplished with all hands on deck.
Honorable Ogun later went to Uromi in Esan Northeast local government area to declare his intention to govern Edo State. Barrister Ehikioya Anegbe, who spoke on behalf of other party leaders, said Labour Party was shopping for a governor who would make the state great again. The Labour Party governorship aspirant in his response said he was at home with the ideology of the party under whose platform he will be elected governor of Edo State.
Inside the Niger Delta. Azikiel Group, oil and gas, dredging, power and air transportation. Azikiel Group, petroleum product sufficiency, energy sustainability and infrastructure development.
Member representing Sagbama Ekirimo Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State in the House of Representatives, Honorable Fred Agbedi, has declared that the October 2023 Court of Appeal judgment affirming his re-election is the will of God. Honorable Agbedi made the declaration in the presence of God on 2 occasions in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, and Abuja.
In the February 25, 2023 National Assembly election conducted for Sagbama Ekremo Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State, candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Honorable Fred Agbedi, was declared winner, having polled a total of 21,430 votes to beat his closest rival, Michael Olomu of the All Progressives Congress, who got 8,899 votes. The APC candidate filed a petition before the Election Tribunal, which nullified Honorable Agbedi's election. In its judgment delivered on September 7, 2023, the Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Yenagoa directed the Independent National Electoral Commission to withdraw the certificate of return issued to Honorable Agbedi and ordered fresh polls in 17 units. When it was subsequently brought before the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja, the appellate court dismissed the petition for lack of merit. With a grateful heart, Honorable Agbedi, accompanied by close family members and friends, appeared in the presence of God at the Assemblies of God Church in Yenagoa and Abuja to offer a sacrifice of praise, acknowledging the role of the church in his electoral victory.
Reverend Kayode, he has always raised an altar of prayer in this church on my behalf and on the behalf of my governor, Senator Doye Diri.
Speaking to Inside the Niger Delta, Honorable Agbedi said 2023 will be remembered as a year of many victories and landmark achievements.
God blessed me in so many ways. Elections, family life, in the governorship election in Bayelsa, in the tribunals, even when my wife was ill. And all that has happened in my life is by the grace of God. And so I have no choice but to come to the house of God continuously.
Honorable Fred Agbedi, a committed Christian and builder of churches, also had cause to thank God for the victory of Governor Doye Diri, who will be sworn in for a second term in February next year. Honorable Agbedi urges Bayelsans to rally round the governor for the consolidation of the achievements of his prosperity government in Bayelsa State.
Inside the Niger Delta.
The Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) has awarded scholarships to 200 Niger Delta University graduates under its Foreign Postgraduate Scholarship Program for the 2024 academic session. Speaking during the presentation of award letters and pre-departure ceremony in honor of the successful candidates, some members of the management and board of the NDDC assured the scholars that the commission will ensure timely payment of their tuition fees and that all measures have been put in place to make their studies overseas hitch-free.
In September this year, the NDDC launched an online portal for applications to study in diverse specialized disciplines for the 2024 academic session. After a series of selection tests, the Commission recently presented scholarship awards to 200 successful candidates to study their master's degrees overseas. During the presentation of award letters to the successful candidates and pre-departure briefing ceremony, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the NDDC, Dr. Samuel Ogbuku, reassured the scholars that there would not be any delays in the payment of their tuitions and allowances. He said the Commission had concluded plans to make their stay in the United Kingdom each free. He also announced that the Commission would sponsor the best performing scholars to attend Doctor of Philosophy as reward for hard work and diligence.
If you challenge us with your performance, then we will sign for.
Considering that most of the scholarship awardees would be traveling out of Nigeria for the first time, Chairman of the NDDC Governing Board, Chiedu Ebi, said the Commission had contacted foreign consulates to ensure speedy procession of the visas of all the scholarship beneficiaries to enable them resume classes with their counterparts in January next year.
One of the things that we're going to embark on is also to seek partnership with the foreign missions or the consulates where you're going to pursue your master's program. We will reach out to them and try and forge that relationship and partnership so that your visa process can be expedited or dealt with within the shortest possible time.
The successful candidates commended the NDDC for reviving its postgraduate scholarship program, which was put on hold for a few years, and pledged to contribute their quota to the development of Niger Delta on completion of their studies.
NDDC over the years has been sponsoring people for scholarship, and it's a great way to actually develop the Niger Delta area.
To do a lot in reducing the burden that studying abroad entails.
The 200 new awardees who are billed to depart Nigeria at the end of this month for their studies abroad are the latest beneficiaries of a scheme intended to promote capacity building for sustainable development in the Niger Delta.
Inside the Niger Delta.
On the 26th of December 2023, the people of Aruku Kingdom will crown Prince Engineer Eberechukwu Orji as their new monarch, the Ezearo of the ancient Aruku Kingdom in Abia State. His emergence as the Ezearo designate has generated so much interest in the Aruku stool, which dates back to the 16th century. No doubt, Prince Orji's ascension to the throne will give the Aro stool the power, influence and traditional first-class status that it rightfully deserves. 50-year-old Prince Orji, who is a pastor, is a major player in Nigeria's oil and gas industry as managing director of ND Western, an oil and gas conglomerate. How did he emerge as the Ezearo designate of Aruku Kingdom? The heir apparent to the throne says it was through a very thorough and painstaking process of screening.
We have a gerontocratic culture. What that means is that when the king passes, it's not the son that becomes the king, it is the eldest in the family that becomes the king by natural selection. However, we the youth, we approached our elders and we pleaded with them that the world is changing. They should see what has happened in Warri, where they selected a young king. They should see what has happened in Ife, where they selected a young king. We encourage them that while they are still alive, they should nominate one of us to be the Ezearo, so that they can be the royal fathers providing guidance to whoever they choose and build this throne back with the vigor and virality of youth. We ended up with a screening exercise where it was myself and my cousin Godi Kanide that was left in the field. And we made our presentation to the kingmakers, and they went down to wire and to vote. And the vote resulted with 5 persons saying that it is me and 2 persons saying that it was Godi. So the result was announced, and I was announced as the next Ezearo. There's no more, no less.
Clearly, upon his coronation, Prince Orji will join the league of very young, upwardly mobile professionals who are currently occupying the throne of their forefathers. What is his vision for Aruku Kingdom?
We grew up in the palace during my grandfather's reign. We knew how revered he was. We knew how revered the stool was, and we knew the prominence that the stool carried in Igbo land and in Nigeria. And what we're going to do, what I am going to do, is to make sure that we restore the profile and that we are an improvement over what our grandfathers did. We have to make sure that there is love and unity among us, and that is one Aruku Kingdom, and then we're going to face the head-on development of Aruku Kingdom in conjunction with the government. We'll make sure that the roads are built, make sure that we've got pipe-borne water, not political promise, because this is our hometown now. We have to make sure that our hometown is a place that people love to come, people want to come, and people are happy to come. And then we have to look into the issue of food security. Our farmlands, we have to revive them, make sure that our medical facilities work. That we will do with various agencies. And my job will be to network, to use my extensive network to attract all these things to Aruku Kingdom.
All roads lead to Aruku on the 26th of December 2023 for what promises to be an epoch-making event for the people of Aruku Kingdom.
Inside the Niger Delta.
The founder of Susan Dennis Agbai Foundation, Mrs. Susan Dennis, says she will continue to support the poor and vulnerable, as well as create a conducive environment for widows and orphans to thrive in the society. Mrs. Dennis, who stated this during an event organized to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the foundation recently in Port Harcourt, also presented startup packs and cash support to orphans who were trained in various skills acquisition programs and distributed food items to widows from 4 states of Rivers, Imo, Lagos, and Benue.
The Susan Dennis Agbai Foundation recently brought together widows and orphans who have been under its care across 4 states of Rivers, Imo, Lagos, and Benue to Port Harcourt to celebrate its 5th anniversary, which featured the graduation ceremony of the 2023 Skills Acquisition Training Program, the launch of the foundation's auditorium, and the final round of the monthly distribution of food items to widows for the year. The founder of the foundation, Mrs. Susan Dennis, while looking back at the sour and sweet experiences of the past years and the enormous needs of widows across the country, said she was not backing down on her commitment to support the less privileged.
My aim is, let's gather ourselves in love. Let's do what we can do to help each other grow and reduce the rate of this we feeling we are the worst ones in the society, because that is how people perceive widows.
The Susan Dennis Agbai Foundation is a charity organization officially incorporated with the Corporate Affairs Commission in 2019 by Mrs. Susan Dennis to cater for the needs of the downtrodden in society, with a special focus on widows and orphans. Some excited widows and orphans who have benefited from the empowerment programs of the foundation share their stories.
When her stuff came to us in our group there, it was when almost majority of the people had nothing to feed on, not to talk of clothing. She fed us, she gave us some cash.
I learned how to make clothes. I make both for ladies and men. With the skill I have learned so far, I will be able to earn a living.
The founder also enjoined individuals, corporate bodies, and the government to lend their voices and resources in the struggle for a safe and conducive society for the disadvantaged to thrive.
As long as you have 3 square meals, you're comfortable. You could pick 1 widow. You mustn't pick 2. 1 is okay. And I think with this, we'll do a lot.
Susan Dennis Agbai Foundation for the past 5 years has reached over 1,000 widows and sponsored hundreds of orphans in school and vocational education. The foundation also provides a platform where widows regularly meet to pray and interact.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Well, that's the size of our package on the program for today. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region will be back same time, same station next week. Until then, you can follow us on our social media handles shown right now on your screen. And please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDNTV Nigeria. Until next week, I am MAMODE AKUGHA, thanking you for staying tuned and wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance. Bye for now.